Dear friends, I hope this finds you well. I shared on Facebook earlier this week the great blessing that I had to meet up for only a short meeting with a dear friend, Rabbi Ariel Burger, who actually lives in the town that I grew up in Sharon, Massachusetts, and he's come over to Australia to speak about the incredible book that he wrote called Witness, Lessons from the Classroom of Elie Wiesel. Ariel was the teacher's assistant to Elie Wiesel for many, many years. And he's written an incredible book which describes the many lessons that he learned from Professor Wiesel and that he thinks that the world needs to hear. And it's an incredible book, and I got the real blessing again to hear him speak with Bram Presser last night at the Jewish Holocaust Museum. And it's a very special and unique person. And I shared on Facebook that just after a short visit with him, I felt renewed, and my soul was refreshed. And we have these sorts of experiences sometimes. And Ariel is he's great because of his wonderful humility, and I'm sure he'll be greatly embarrassed by me speaking about him in such a public manner. But he's a very, humble and soft-spoken and well-spoken and eloquent person, and a wonderful person who's been really charged with the great responsibility of carrying on, amongst many other people, but carrying on the legacy of Elie Wiesel and ensure that his teachings are disseminated widely, and he's doing really important work. And it was wonderful to sit with Ariel because I felt that, here is someone who's really using his time wisely, and as I said, he's humble and soft-spoken and wise. And I came away inspired because I felt, this is, it's great to meet with people like this, people who are full of vision and passion and purpose. And it's easy, and I have the tendency as well, when I meet with someone like this, I want to be fully activated, right? I want to be who I can be. I want to get to that place and be making big change, right? And that's the Yetzer Hara. That's the evil inclination, because what happens? I've got this idea of I want to grow and I want to be great, and and I've got this really lofty vision. How do I get there? And if I don't get there now, I'll be disappointed. And so Ariel actually said, we're speaking about kind of spiritual practices and things that we can do to grow. He says, I hope he's happy with me sharing this with all of you. There's a practice of hitbodedut. Rabbi Nachman of Breslov spoke about, speaking to God, and speaking to God in your own language, and setting aside time every day to talk to God and to open your heart out and to pour your heart out before God. And, Rabbi Nachman spoke about it, half an hour, to set aside an hour. But Ariel said, no, in the beginning, and he tried to do that, he couldn't do it. So what did he do? He set aside a minute. He put a minute out of his day where I'm going to do, and that's doable. And of course, a minute becomes 2 minutes, and 2 minutes grows and grows and grows until he is where he is right now in his own personal avodah. And I think that in his own personal spiritual work. And I think that that's a really healthy thing, and a really healthy thing, and a beneficial thing for me to hear. Here we are in the month of Elul, or almost in the month of Elul, and we're moving towards the new year. And this is a time where we should be thinking about growing and thinking about what does it mean to be great, and how do we become the greatest versions of ourselves. The key is to think about something practical and something doable, and say, this is what I'm going to focus on. This is what I'm going to do. This is, my focus for the next month and moving forward. And so I'm going to think about what it is. What are the small goals, the small doable things that I can do in order to advance? And I challenge you as well. I challenge you in the month of Elul. What can you do? What are the little changes that we can all do in order to kind of push ourselves forward in our spiritual growth? It's just that idea of I'm now going to be doing something consciously for the sake of my growth that is so important. Now I'm going to do it. I'm going to follow through because the goal that I've chosen is doable, and it's practical, and it's realistic. And so I want to bless everyone with that clarity as to what it is that we need to be working on, and with the courage to go out and do it, but also with the wisdom to ensure that what it is really doable. And please God, all of our little changes and all of our little steps towards, towards who we can be should just bring us all together deeply in community and in connection, and in deepening our connection with Hashem and with each other. With that, I wish you a Shabbat Shalom and a Chodesh Tov.